بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Tajweed 3 inshallah. We are still in the introduction of علم التجويد. We are introducing علم التجويد. What is it about? Why we learn it? And the ahkam of التجويد. Okay, so let's do a quick review of what we talked about in the previous class inshallah. We ready? Ready inshallah? Okay. Who can give us the ta'reef of علم التجويد? Define علم التجويد. لغة in the Arabic language. When we say tajweed, what does that mean? التحسين. What does that mean in English?
To make it better.
To make something better. Okay, تحسين. So when I say, I want the qira'ah with the tajweed, meaning that I want you to make it better. When I say, أريدك أن تجود السرير, meaning that make the bed better. Okay, so that's what it means in the Arabic language. Now, according to the definition of the scholars of the tajweed, what tajweed is? Someone else, inshallah. Abdullah? Okay.
Yeah, it's making sound of the letter come from the proper source.
Yeah, that's number one. Yeah.
Proper attribute.
Yeah, letter by letter, inshallah. So the definition of ilm al-tajweed is that when you pronounce the letter of the Quran, in the Quran, when you pronounce and utter and say the letter, number one, it has to come from the proper source. Meaning that ha, it has to come from the middle of the throat. If you say ha, that's incorrect because it's coming from the top. So that's the first thing you have to do as tajweed. So that's the first part of the definition. To make the sound of the letter comes from the proper makhraj, from the proper source. Okay, it comes from the proper source. Then what do you have to apply on the letter? Yes, the attributes, the sifat. Okay, so each letter has attributes that makes that letter unique and different from another letter. Okay, so the jim and the ya and the sheen, they all come from the same place, from the middle of the tongue. Wasatul lisan. But what make them different? The attributes that they have. So jim has attributes that ya doesn't have, and the ya has attributes that the sheen doesn't have. So that's the tajweed. So to pronounce the letter correctly, and then to give it its proper attributes. If someone says that's just speaking Arabic, is incorrect, because Arabic speakers, they do not speak according to these criteria we said in the definition of ilm al-tajweed. Because sometimes Arabic speakers, they can say the letter, but it's not coming from the proper source. You go to a lot of countries, Arabic country, they say haza, right? That's incorrect. In ilm al-tajweed, you cannot say haza. Okay? You go to some Arabic countries, they say marid, right? That's incorrect. Marid is dad, not va. You go to some Arabic countries, they say thumma. They're talking about thumma. That's incorrect. So because of that, tajweed is not just learning how to speak Arabic. It's learning how to pronounce the letters correctly according to ilm al-tajweed. So it's something different. It doesn't mean if you speak Arabic, so you know how to pronounce the letters correctly. Okay? A lot of Arabic native speakers, they say the letters incorrectly. We understand that? So that's the definition of ilm al-tajweed. That's what we are doing. That's what we are teaching you. That's what the shaykh is teaching you when you sit in front of him, learning the tajweed of the Quran. To say the letter correctly with the proper attributes. You just say qala. Qa, it comes from the right source, but it doesn't have the attributes of tafkhim. Qala. It's not qala. Qala. So that's what the tajweed is about. Okay? So we understand that? We just do a review. We talked about that in the previous dars. Okay. Next, حكم علم التجويد. What is حكم علم التجويد? I need someone else. Sheikh Abu Bakr, mashallah. I know you know everything. حكم علم التجويد. When we say حكم in Islam, what does that mean? Ruling. Meaning that, do we have to learn it? Is it wajib? Is it halal? Is it haram? To make it easy on you, it goes into two categories. One category is learning it. Come into such class, it listen, it learn ilm al-tajweed. What is the hukum of that? That's it. That is fardu kifaya. What does that mean?
Well, some people take the rest of
Exactly. So when we say something is fardu kifaya, that means if some group of Muslims do it, so that the remaining Muslims are not sinful. So we must have, some group of Muslims learning this. And alhamdulillah, that's happening in the ummah, in the universities, in the masajid, and in here in Masjid al-Furqan. So for someone to come to Dars al-Tajweed, is that wajib? It's fardu kifaya. As long as we have some people in the ummah doing it, so that's sufficient, that's enough. Okay? And then al-amalu bihi, wajib, fardu ayn. What does that mean, al-amalu bihi? When you read the Quran, you have to read it with the tajweed. That's fardu ayn. That must be done and practiced by everybody. Does that mean, since reading the Quran, you have to read it with the proper tajweed? Does that mean that, let's say someone just started learning the Quran, does that mean he has to read it just the way that Shaykh Abdul Basit, Abdul Samad is reading it? Does he have to read it properly in the way that Shaykh Abdul Rahman al-Sudais is reading it? Is that what we mean? No. We mean is that he does his best to apply the tajweed that he knows. Okay? So someone may only knows the ghunna and the qalqala, and that's it. He doesn't know about the mudud. So he reads with the ghunna, but he doesn't make the mudud. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة وما رزقناهم ينفقون. He applies the qalqala. والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليكم وما أنزل. He doesn't say بما. He doesn't know it. Could we say he is sinful? He's not sinful because he doesn't know it. Okay? But he has to do his best to apply the rules of the tajweed. So if you come to a class of the tajweed and you learn the tajweed, you know the tajweed, could you one day just read the Quran, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu? You're not supposed to do that because you already learned it and you know how to pronounce it properly. So it's fardu ayn upon you to read it properly. You cannot do it that way. And unfortunately, we see this happening from imams that they know ahkam al-tajweed, but they want to satisfy people in Salatul Taraweeh. They read like this. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. That happens. In the imam, he knows the tajweed, so why read in the Quran that? What is the purpose of the salah? You have to read it with the tajweed. You have to pronounce the letter correctly. Alhamdulillah, you can speed up, and we can learn the maratib al-qira'ah. We have different speeds in the qira'ah. You can read it with the speed, but you have to apply ahkam al-tajweed. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. It's fast, but with the tajweed. Okay, so this way, inshallah, people behind you who praying, inshallah, they will understand what you are reading and they will enjoy the recitation of the Quran and they will benefit from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we understand what fardu ayn means is you have to do your best to apply the tajweed that you know. So if you're someone who's knowledgeable in the Quran, do not disrespect the Quran and read it so fast without the ahkam. You have to apply the ahkam. Okay, so we understand hukm al-tajweed? Okay, next, mawdu'uhu. Where do we apply the tajweed? In the Quran? True or false? In the Sunnah also? Yes? You sure? So when we read the hadith عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله, if we don't do that, we sinful? No. It's only in the Quran. Okay? It's only in the Quran. So the Sunnah, the ahadith, the statements of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even if it's ahadith al-Qudsi, we understand what is al-hadith al-Qudsi? Is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, but it's not revealed in the Quran. It's said in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah said, إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي. Allah is saying that, but that's not a part of the Quran. It's Allah's words. Allah said it, but it's in the hadith. But we're not going to treat it the same way as the Quran. It's hadith al-Qudsi. Okay, so all of the hadith, including al-hadith al-Qudsi, no tajweed. But if someone chooses to do it, is that a problem? Not a problem. Okay, so inshallah, the ahkam al-tajweediyya, we must apply it in what? Just al-kalimat al-Qur'aniyya, the words of the Quran when we are reading the Quran al-Karim. Okay, all of this is review, ikhwani. I want the class to be, inshallah, beneficial. We want to understand what we are talking about. We want to keep whatever I'm talking about. We don't want to waste our time. Because tajweed is not, maybe when you come to a fiqh or a tafsir or a tawheed class, you can just listen and the masail may stay with you for long. But in the tajweed, you have to take notes and keep reviewing what you learn in order for that learning to be, beneficial and effective. You don't want to waste your time sitting in the class, leaving the class, and the next day you don't know what the class was about. Okay? So that's a موضوعه. Okay, now we're going to talk, because what I said in the previous class is that we have 10 things that we have to define for any field of knowledge in Islam before we started learning that knowledge. So if we read in the fiqh, so we have to know the definition of the fiqh. What is the fiqh? In the lugha, what does that mean? And then in the istilah al-fuqaha, the scholars of fiqh, what does that mean? We have to define that and understand what it means. And then, موضوعه, where do we use the fiqh? Okay? We use it in the practice of Islam. It's not the same as Tajweed. Tajweed we apply it in the Quran. Okay, حكمه, حكم تعلم الفقه. Is it mandatory? Is it wajib? Is it, okay? So we have to know the hukum. So all of these information, we are learning them about علم التجويد. So that's the hukum. فضله, what is the virtue of learning علم التجويد? The mu'allif, the author said, أنه من أشرف العلوم وأفضلها لتعلقه, is that my phone? لتعلقه لتعلقه بأشرف الكتب وأجلها. What is the virtue of learning علم التجويد? When we say virtue, the fadl, the blessings, is that you are learning one of the most honorable knowledge of Islam. Why? Because it's linked with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Same thing with the tafsir, tajweed. Anything that's linked with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of the greatest fields of knowledge in Islam. So it's something great to come to such class, sit down, listen, learn the tajweed, and then apply the tajweed in your recitation. That's one of the great things, and it's going to give you the honor of leading people in the salat. The Prophet Muhammad, the most important thing we do in life is what? Is the worship, right? And the most important worship that we do on a daily basis is what? The salat. Who's given that honor to lead the salat? Is it someone who has more knowledge of the fiqh or tawheed? No, the one who has a knowledge of the tajweed, of the qira'ah. يَأُمُّ الْقَوْمَ أَقْرَأُهُمْ لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ. So you have that honor. Anywhere you go, when there's a salat, people will point at you. And you lead the salat. And that's a great honor. And you take the reward of those who pray behind you. It's great. So it's not something that we should be belittled, because a lot of people, even students of knowledge, they neglect ilm tajweed. They don't learn it. They think, yes, I don't have to. As long as I know the meaning of the ayah, that's enough for me. No, it's important to learn tajweed. And that's why in early age it's important to make your kid memorize Tuhfatul Atfal. We talk about this book. One, you know, it has how many abiyat, how many lines it has?
21.
No. 61. 61. Who's the author? Who's the mu'allif of Tuhfatul Atfal? Sulaiman al-Jamzuri. It's a book, it's a poem that consists of 61 lines that has ahkam al-tajweed. So when you have a kid, he can memorize it easily. In this way, inshallah, he will be able to keep up with ahkam al-tajweed. So we should be learning and teaching our kids this. And even students of knowledge should not neglect ilm al-tajweed. It's essential and important. Okay? So it gives you the honor to be the Imam al-Muttaqeen, the Imam of the believers, those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You lead them in the salat. And that's the greatest honor. Is there any honor greater than that? No. You leading people in salat for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the virtue, the fadl of learning ilm al-tajweed. Say that again. تحفة الأطفال. تحفة الأطفال للمؤلف سليمان الجمزوري. It's not a book, it's just a booklet, a small book. That it's a poem that has 61 lines of poetry. So it's good for beginners, not necessarily for kids. In that time, it's for kids. In the time he wrote the book, Tuhfatul Atfal, you know, the book of the Atfal, kids. But in our time, it's for adults, because we're lazy. Yeah, we're lazy, simple. You know, in that time, adults, they read Al-Jazariyah, that has more abiyat. It's 100 and something. And Tuhfatul Atfal, that's for kids. For someone who's 5, 6, 7, they memorize it and they understand everything in that book. But in our time, Tuhfatul Atfal is for adults. And Al-Jazariyah is for those who are very, very advanced. You know, so that's a very good book. You can even memorize it yourself. When you have it in your head, so you have all of the ahkam. When we talk about huruf al-idhar, because some people, it's hard for them to memorize nathr, meaning that the non-poem text. But the poetry is easy to memorize. because it goes into pattern, especially the Arabic one. So it's easier. So because of that, most of the books, even أحكام الفقه, قواعد أصول الفقه, we have poetry for it. أصول الحديث and علم مصطلح الحديث. Also, we have a lot of poems that you memorize. In this way, you have the essentials or the foundations of that field of knowledge. Whenever you want to remember any information, you don't have to go through the book and open the book and read the information again. You just read the poetry and you're good. You remember the qaida or the base or the foundation of that field of knowledge. So that's the fadl, the virtue of learning علم التجويد. استمداده فائدته. Or before that, واضعه, who is the founder of علم التجويد, the scholars of التجويد. You know, we don't have any specific name, but in general, the scholars of التجويد. They found this field of knowledge because in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet was teaching the Sahaba the Tajweed. How he was teaching them the Tajweed? The practical Tajweed. He just teach them how to pronounce it. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. They repeat it. They may make mistakes. They say Alhamdulillah. He corrected. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay. Ya ayyuhal. Then the scholars of Islam later on, they listen to all of the sounds of the Tajweed and they figure out that there is maddul muttasil, maddul munfasil, and we drag it and do the stretching this much, and we have the ghunna, and they note it down and they wrote books and people started learning that, and that makes it easy for people when you are applying the ahkam al-tajweed. So when the Shaykh is telling you to harakat, when he's telling you it's idhar, you understand what idhar is because you already studied that in the book. But in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the theoretical tajweed did not exist. So the Prophet was did never taught the Sahaba, this is ghunna, this is mad, this is tarqiq, this is tafkhim. All of that was found after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by the scholars of the tajweed. Okay, we understand this? Okay, next. فائدته, what is the benefit of learning علم التجويد? Any knowledge, any field of knowledge you learn it, it has benefit. What is the benefit? He said, الفوز بسعادة الدارين. Then you're going to win the happiness of the darain, of this life and in the hereafter. You're going to have the happiness of this life and in the hereafter. The happiness in this life that you know the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you master, mashallah, tabarakallah, the ahkam al-tajweed, you lead people in the salat, and that's going to lead you to the real happiness in the hereafter, inshallah, to be in the highest position in paradise. So that's the benefit of learning ilm al-tajweed. Istimdaduhu, where this ilm come from? Where did it come from? From the book and the sunnah. He said, Al-Kitab wa sunnah. It's from the kitab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Read the Quran with the tartil, which is the tajweed. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also taught the Sahaba how to read with the tajweed. So ilm al-tajweed comes from where? From the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So no one can come and say, and we have some people that say that ilm al-tajweed is ilm mubtada, it's just innovation. So these people, they don't have deeper understanding of the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have some people that are saying this. Ilm al-tajweed is this innovation. How come it's innovation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. How come it's innovation? And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the Sahaba the Quran with the tajweed. So they don't have the deeper and the proper understanding of the book and the sunnah. So it's in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also in the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's a part of the book and the sunnah, inshallah. And then, ismuhu, what is the name of ilm al-tajweed? Ilm al-tajweed. Okay, so the name of ilm al-tajweed, ilm al-tajweed, that's easy. Masailuhu. What areas or what are the things that you learn in ilm al-tajweed? So he says something that's very, he said, قواعد وقضاياه الكلية التي توصل بها إلى معرفة أحكام الجزئية. That you learn general قواعد, general information, general foundation, and these foundation that will lead to little small details. Okay, so you learn the ghunna. That's something general. Okay, the ghunna, where do we apply the ghunna? We have some little details. We have to apply the ghunna on the an-nun al-mushaddada, the nun that has shadda. And also we have to apply the ghunna on what? On the ikhfa. What is ikhfa? We're going to study that inshallah in details and in depth. We have to apply the ghunna again in the idgham. What is idgham? We're going to learn that. We have to apply the ghunna again in the iqlab. What is iqlab? We're going to learn that inshallah. Okay, so we have in general rules, and then through these general rules we can have little details that come through. In this way, inshallah, you become knowledgeable of all of the masail, all of the foundation rules and information about ilm tajweed, and that makes you a better qari that's reading and reciting the Quran with full knowledge, knowing what you're doing, how many harakat, and this and this and that. And if someone makes a mistake, you can tell him. Okay, that's a very important thing. Because when you have full knowledge of ilm tajweed, so you can teach. So when I listen to you, I will tell you this med is less. Why? Because I've already studied ilm tajweed. If I never studied that, I'm not going to be able to know that. If I just focus on the qira'ah, because you have some people, they have good recitation and they can recite and the recitation is good, but they don't have the enough in terms of ma'rif, in terms of knowledge about ilm tajweed, so they cannot teach. So when they hear people make mistakes, they cannot find these mistakes and teach and tell people that this is wrong and this is the proper and the correct and the right way to say it. Okay? So that's masailuhu, what we discussed in this field of knowledge. And then غايته, what is the purpose of ilm tajweed? He says something great. صون اللسان عن اللحن في كلام الله تعالى. So the purpose of the tajweed, the purpose of the tajweed is صون اللسان عن اللحن في كلام الله تعالى. What does that mean? It's to protect your tongue from making mistakes in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So that's the purpose of ilm tajweed. To protect your tongue from making mistakes in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. So that's the whole thing. Because the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not the same as other book. It's read differently, it has its own rules. So we learn all of these rules to protect our tongues from making mistakes in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when we say mistakes, what does that mean? Something really important that we have to discuss in depth, because that's related to something really important in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is leading the salat. Always we have arguments. When a group of people enter the masjid, okay, and then someone led them in the salat. Let's say the first salat is done. Let's say salatul al-isha. We finish salatul al-isha, okay? And then a group of people that do not know each other, they enter the masjid, and they are maybe 10 or 5 or 6, and they want to do the congregation, the jama'ah, they want to pray together, right? One of them should lead them in the salat. That person leads them in the salat and he makes mistakes. After the salat, people become concerned about their salat. Is it acceptable or not? If that person made terrible mistakes in the qira'ah, because sometimes you can make a mistake that changes the meaning of the ayah. Okay? And also that person who led the salat is not the best person in terms of the recitation. We want to discuss that. Is our salat acceptable? Is our salat sahiha or not sahiha? A lot of people sometimes they repeat the salat. Maybe the person who led them, he has a lot of mistakes. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een. He's changing all of the letters and not pronouncing the letters properly or correctly. And those who are behind him are better than him. Or the person he read in a way that they didn't understand what he was reading. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In a way that they didn't understand what he was saying. People become concerned. Is that qira'ah? Is that recitation sufficient and enough for their salat to be acceptable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not? So we have to know that the lahn, he said al-lahn. What al-lahn means, we don't mean the rhythm in the song, because in Arabic we say lahn, it means the rhythm of the song, but it also means the mistake. So the lahn, he means the mistake. So al-lahn jaliyun wa khafi. The mistake in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, either to be jali or khafi. Jali, which is a clear mistake that everybody can tell, including those who are not knowledgeable in the ilm tajweed. Okay, so that's what jali means. In Arabic, we're going to say jali, something clear, something obvious, something that's exposed, it's not hidden. Okay, so we have some mistakes, and I'm going to give examples of these mistakes. And he gave examples in the book. Okay, so we have mistakes that are jaliyya, mistake that's jali, clear, wadah. Anybody can tell, anybody who at least speak speaks Arabic can tell there is a mistake in the qira'ah. And then we have the second type of the mistakes, which is al-lahn al-khafi, the hidden mistake that no one knows it except who? Yeah, someone who is knowledgeable in ilm al-tajweed, as Brother Ami mashallah said. So we have mistakes that no one can know them. When someone comes now to the masjid and he read, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmuddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'een, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. You will think it's correct. No, it's wrong. Ihdina as-sirata, sirata. It has to come with the tafkhim. No one can know this except someone who studied ilm al-tajweed. He may say, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. And a lot of people think that the qira'ah is correct. There is a mistake in the qira'ah, which is he did not make the med as 6 harakat. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Who can know this? Someone who already studied ilm al-tajweed, and he knows this is al-maddul lazim, and al-maddul lazim always is straight and made as 6 harakat, 6 counts.
This is for the khafi or the jali?
This is for the khafi. I'm gonna go back and give examples. So again, al-lahn al-jali, the clear mistake in the recitation of the Quran. Okay, anybody can tell. It's obvious and clear. When someone read and said Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, everybody knows this is wrong. It's not Alhamdulillah, right? And then we have the second type of the mistake, which is the one that no one can know it except ulama al-tajweed, meaning that he is saying the words, the letters correctly, but he is missing the attributes of the letters. Okay, the first type of the tajweed, of the mistakes, al-lahn al-jali, we can have some mistakes that changes the meaning of the ayah. It could be something small, you just change the haraka, the vowel on the letter, but the whole meaning of the ayah changes. Okay? You just change from dhamma to fatha. The whole ayah changes. In the Fatiha, it says, صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. Sirata, the way of those who you bestowed your favor upon them. When someone, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, says, صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتُ, he changes the fatha to dhamma, so the whole meaning is different. So that favor that bestowed upon them is from him, the speaker, which is a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is incorrect. If he believes in that, that's shirk. Just changing one harakah. And also an ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ. Verily, the scholars fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so who is fearing the other? The scholars are fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, but if you change the fatha in Allah to dhamma and say إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهُ وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ عِبَادِ الْعُلَمَاءِ, so that means that Allah fears the scholars. I just change it. You know, if you believe in that, that's shirk. Okay, so that's lahn al-jali. Someone who's making such mistakes should not lead the salat. Okay, someone who's making such mistakes should not lead the salat. Changing the fatha and the kasra and should not lead the salat, except if those who are praying behind him, they are in the same level in terms of the recitation. They're all making the same mistake, so he can lead them. They're all sawa, they are equal. خلاص يا إخواني? So al-lahn al-jali, that changing the harakat and changing the letter. You don't pronounce the letter properly. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. We have people reading this. Or someone, Ghul a'uzu bi Rabbin Nas, pronouncing the qaf as ghain and then the dal as zay, and changing all of the letters, and changing tarkibatul kalima, changing the structure of the word. Such person is making lahnun jali, should not lead the salat. Khayr al-maghdub, instead of saying ghayri. You know, especially non-Arabic speakers, Because some languages, they don't have the ghain and the kha, so they get confused, and they sometimes instead of saying ghain, they say the kha, or instead of saying the kha, they say the ghain. So if someone is making such mistakes, should not lead the salat. Okay? But a lot of times people think that means someone who speaks Arabic. And we see that a lot. When we enter the masjid and someone who's not a native in Arabic lead the salat, those who are native in Arabic, they don't feel comfortable. But it's not necessarily, this person who does not speak Arabic could know the tajweed better than them. It doesn't matter. You go to a lot of villages in non-Arabic countries and they learn the Quran better than those who are in the Arabic countries. You go to some villages in Pakistan, in Africa, and maybe Albania, or they learn the Quran with the proper tajweed, and they read it better than those who are in the Arabic countries. They never studied the tajweed. So it doesn't mean that the person speaks Arabic, so that person is supposed to have a correct qira'ah. It is not necessarily. So someone could speak Arabic, but his recitation is terrible. It's terrible, believe me. Some people, they غُلَ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ غُلَ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّنَا, they change the qaf to ghain and the dal to zai. هَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ, they change it to ta. And then when they come to the dha, they change it to dad. الظالم, they say الظالمين. You see that such mistakes, someone who's making such mistakes a lot, so he should not be leading the salat. But if it happens you enter the masjid and this person is leading the salat, and you prayed behind him, and he's making terrible mistakes, what you should do, you should continue the salat, and your salat inshallah is acceptable. But I'm talking about when we all know each other and we know that this person is someone who cannot read the Quran properly and he has mistakes. Al-Hanjaliya, he changes the harakat and he changes the huruf. Such person should not lead the salat. Clear, Ikhwani? Such person should not lead the salat. Inshallah wadih, because people have confusion about this. So such person should not lead the salat, and someone who has better recitation should lead. When you enter the masjid and there is a jama'ah, and you know yourself that you're good in the recitation, mashallah, you have good recitation, you learn the tajweed, what you should do? You should go to the front and lead the salat. Okay? So that's not kibr or arrogance, because we don't know each other. Someone who may not have a proper, except if these group of people, they are together and they pointed to someone, so we don't want to cause a problem here. Because if you go to the front and they are pointing to someone else, they may feel, offended, and a problem could happen. So I'm talking about a situation where a group of people enter the masjid and they don't know each other and they want to, pray together. So if you are someone who, mashallah, tabarakallah, your recitation is good, just take the lead and lead them in the salat immediately. Okay? But if we have someone who's making al-hanul jaliyya, he's changing the harakat, he's changing the letters, the ha is not clear, the kha, the ghain, the dad, all of these letters are not coming from the proper source, from the proper makhraj. Such person should not lead the salat. And such person should work on his makharij, to learn the tajweed, to read the Quran inshallah properly. Okay? So that's the first part of the akhta in the Quran. When you're changing the letters and changing the harakat. The second type of the akhta in the tajweed, in the Quran, which is al-lahnul khafi, the hidden mistake. Meaning that he is saying the letters correctly. The ha is coming from the proper source, the kha, the dad, the ain, the ghain, and everything. And he's not changing the harakat. The fatha is fatha, the dhamma is dhamma, and the kasra is kasra, the sukoon is sukoon. He doesn't have any problem with that. Okay? His only problem is that he doesn't apply the proper attributes of the letters. So he may pronounce the kha without the tafkhim. Okay? Khaifin. Kha. He say khaifin. Notice? Do you see the difference? Khaifin. Khaifin. Okay? So that's a hidden mistake that no one knows it except ulama al-tajweed. Those who have knowledge in ilm al-tajweed. And also the qaf. He doesn't say qala. He say qala. 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 Qala is thicker. That's the tafkhim. You have to have a full mouth with air. Qa. So this way you're applying the attribute of the tafkhim on the qaf. So it is correct. Someone else may say qala. It is from the right source, but it doesn't have the proper attributes. Okay, so that's a hidden mistake that no one knows it except ulama al-tajweed. The mad, for example, someone who reads the Quran but he doesn't know what the mad is. Alif lam mim, He doesn't say alif lam mim. He says alif lam mim. The alif is correct, the lam is correct, the mim is correct, but no ghunna and no mad. Okay? So the structure of the word in the letters is correct. Okay? He's saying that letters correctly with the proper harakat, but he's not given the proper attributes to the letters, the mad and the ghunna. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُمْ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Okay? It's correct. All of the letters are correct, but no mad. So this is a hidden mistake that no one knows it except the scholars of the Tajweed. If you are making a hidden mistake, that you're not applying the proper attributes of the letters, such person also should not lead the salat except with those who are in his level. But his salat is fine. If you pray behind someone like this, it's okay, because alhamdulillah, the structure of the words and the letters is correct. And that's the case with a lot of people. Inshallah. A lot of people, they pronounce the letters correctly, but they don't give and apply the proper attributes of the letters. Okay, so if someone is making hidden mistakes, which is the mistakes of the Tajweed, inshallah, that's easy and that's simple, because the meaning of the word and the meaning of the sentences, the meaning of the ayat does not change. It's just the attribute, the way it sounds is not correct. Okay, so such person also should work hard, inshallah, to learn the these areas that he is weak in, and he should improve himself. Okay, so this, I believe, is enough for today. Right? So let's do a quick review again for what we talked about today. So what is the virtue of learning علم التجويد? ما هو فضله؟ لا, فضله, but that is one of the yeah. No, when we say فائدته, the فائدة, what is the benefit of learning علم التجويد? But I'm talking the virtue of علم التجويد, the position of علم التجويد among all of that, the field of knowledge in Islam. Whereas the أشرف العلوم, being one of the most honorable fields of knowledge in Islam, because it's linked with the Book of Allah. So that's the position. That's where علم التجويد is standing, along with all of the fields of knowledge of Islam. So that means علم التجويد is not something less. So علم التجويد is better than علم, for example, علم العروض. عروض, which is the شعر, the poetry. You know, it's not the same as علم التجويد. You know, and also another example, let's say علم النحو. You know, the قواعد اللغة العربية is very essentially important. علم التجويد is still higher than that, because it's directly linked to the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we say فضله, the virtue, the position of علم التجويد, so we can understand the importance of this field of knowledge that is standing in a very strong place, along with the tafsir and other great fields of knowledge of the deen, that makes you, inshallah, practice and serve the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that's the meaning of فضله. Then واضعه is the founder of علم التجويد. علماء التجويد, the scholars of that Tajweed. Yeah. Okay. فائدته, the benefit of learning علم التجويد. The benefit is not the same as the position or the fadl, the virtue. When you learn it, what is the benefit? What do you get? Yeah, you win the happiness of this life and the happiness of the hereafter. So that's the benefit of learning علم التجويد. استمداده, where it came from. الكتاب والسنة. You know. So anyone who's telling us, because in some scholars, unfortunately, I don't think they have deeper understanding of they say it says علم مبتدع. Bid'ah is innovation. How come it's innovation? And Allah is saying وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. How come it's innovation? The Prophet Muhammad taught the Sahaba with the Tajweed. I can understand that, you know. So this statement is false. علم التجويد comes from the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so we should not think that this knowledge is just something that was innovated and just people made it. No, it's a part of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Period. No doubt about that. The Prophet, that's how he taught the Sahaba with the Tajweed, the mad, the ghunna, the qalqala, the tafkhim, the tarqiq. So all of that was a part of his teachings. So it's from the book and it's from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's important to know this because you may hear someone is telling you this, that it's bid'ah. Believe it or not, they will tell you it's bid'ah. It's not. It's just something innovative. It's not a part of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
So that's the dalil.
The dalil, the practice of the Prophet, right there. How the Prophet was teaching the Sahaba. He was teaching Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Is that how he was teaching them? No. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. The Tajweed and the Tafsir together. 10 ayat, until they become good at it, and then he gives them the next 10 ayat. You know, because the way he was teaching them the Quran is not the same way they speak in. It's Arabic, it's Quran in Arabic. As words and meaning, it's Arabic, but as far as reciting and saying and uttering, it's not the same as the Arabic language. It's different. You have to learn the qawaid. So because of that, a lot of people, even those who are good in Arabic, they could be their profession is al-lughatul arabiyyah, but they not necessarily they know how to pronounce the tajweed correctly. They're good in terms of the nahaw, the structure of the word, the meaning, how to say this, the i'rab, the grammar. They know all of that, you know. But that does not mean that they are good in tajweed. That's a different field of knowledge, and they have to learn it. And that's what the Prophet was teaching the Sahaba, because they already know the nahu. Okay, the grammar of Arabic language, because it's already in their tongue. The way they speak it is based on the grammatical structure of the Arabic language. They know all of that. But the way to say the Quran, it's new to them. So he was teaching them in the tajweed. So that's not innovative. That's right in the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad with no doubts. Okay. Ismuhu, what is the name of ilm al-tajweed? It's ilm al-tajweed, it's easy. And then ghayatuhu, what is the purpose of learning ilm al-tajweed? Not the benefit. We know the benefit that you win the sa'adat al-darain, the happiness of this life and in the hereafter. And fadluhu, which is its virtue, which is its position, is that one of the most honorable fields of knowledge in the Islamic religion. Okay? But when we say ghayatu, what is the purpose? Yes, Mohamed. Yeah, protecting your tongue from making mistakes. Jazakallah khair, Amir. Protecting your tongue from making mistakes in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the purpose of learning ilm al-tajweed. So alhamdulillah, we're doing well. Alhamdulillah. We're not sleeping. Okay. And then al-lahn. Say al-lahn in the Quran. Al-lahn fil Quran. What does that mean? Does it mean the rhythm? No. What we mean? The mistakes. Because in Arabic we say lahn. Lahn jameel. That means the rhythm, the pattern of the sound. It's beautiful. That's what the lahn means. But that's not what we're talking about in ilm al-tajweed. We say lahn because in Arabic, al-lahn also means mistake. When you say something wrong. When something is not correct. That's lahn. That's wrong. Okay? So, how many types of mistakes we have in the Quran? Yes. Not khafif. Khafi. When we say khafif, it means light. Something light that's not heavy. We say khafi, something hidden. It's not clear to everybody except those who have the knowledge of that. Just like a doctor. You know, when he asks you a series of questions, he knows how you're feeling based on what he studied. He can know, but we don't know because we're not doctors. So same thing with ilm al-tajweed. It's khafi, something that anyone who never studied ilm al-tajweed will never know it. But someone who already studied ilm al-tajweed will know it. So that's al-lahn al-khafi, a mistake that's hidden. And then we have al-lahn al-jali, the mistake that's clear and wadih and exposed, and anyone can tell such mistake. Okay? And very importantly, we don't want to make the lahn al-jali in the Quran. Okay, you may make the al-lahn al-khafi, the hidden mistakes. That happens for many people because you have to learn ilm al-tajweed to be able to eliminate al-lahn al-khafi, which is the hidden mistakes in the qira'ah, in your recitation. You have to learn ilm al-tajweed. Okay? But al-lahn al-jali, the clear mistakes, we don't want to saying or making such mistakes in the Quran because it changes the meaning, the structure of the words and the letters. So we're going to stay away from that, okay? So ha is ha, the kha is kha, the dad is dad, and the fatha is fatha, the kasra is kasra, the dhamma is dhamma. And when you memorize the Quran, you have to memorize it this way. Because some people, they memorize the Quran, but they have terrible recitation in terms of the harakat. They change the harakat a lot. Hamda, Hamdi, they confuse, because some people, when they memorize the Quran, they want to do more, because they don't understand that in memorizing the Quran, what matters is how solid your hifz is, not how many ajza and surah you have memorized. Okay? You can have someone who will say, okay, I'm hafiz al-Quran. MashaAllah. And I met a lot of people in the States. Yeah, he went to whatever school it is, and they have a program, and he's hafiz al-Quran. I said, okay, MashaAllah, can you read from Surah Al-An'am? وَلَوْ أَنَّنَا نَزَّلْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ. I said, I can't. I have to go and prepare. I have to memorize it. I said, so how come you're hafiz al-Quran? Read, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا Surah Al-Furqan. He can't read, so how come you're hafiz al-Quran? That's not hafiz al-Quran. Instead of just memorizing quickly, and it's not solid, if he just focus on memorizing 10 ajza with a solid hifz, is better than saying that I memorized the whole Quran, but in reality, I'm not. Okay? Someone who says that he has memorized the whole Quran, but his hifz is very weak, da'if. And someone else who has 10 ajza, but very, very solid. Whenever you tell him Surah Al-Ahzab, he can read. Surah Al-Ghashiyah, he can read. Surah Al-Mursalat, he can read. Surah Al-Mujadilah, he can read. That's what we want. That's a proper hifz. And that can become a teacher. Because you don't be the teacher of the Quran and you have the Mus'haf in your hand. And the student is reading and you following in the Mus'haf. Because the Quran, حُفِظَ فِي الصُّدُورِ. It was in the chest of the Qur'an. So that's how the Quran should be. And that's when you go to any Muslim country, that's how people learn. They memorize it. They're very young, 10, maybe 7 or 8, but they have it in their chest, in their head. It's not in the book. So someone who is not ready, when you give him an ayah, he cannot read it and continue. He has to open the Mus'haf. That's not hafiz. Okay, that's not hafiz. That's why the Prophet Muhammad said, even when you become hafiz, you ta'ahad al-Quran. Meaning that have continuous relationship with the Quran. Commitment. You make the muraja'a on daily basis. And all of the huffaz you see, the qurra, the mashayikh of the qira'ah, don't think they just memorized it when they were 10 and 14 and they never do the muraja'a, and whenever they want to read it, they just read it. No, they have a fixed way, or they have a system, or they have a schedule to make the muraja'a, review. At least daily have to do rubu' juz'. 5 pages. At least daily have to do that. If you're not doing that, you're gonna lose it. And a lot of people have memorized the Quran in the past and they lost it. That happens. Sometimes because they think they have it, or sometimes they get busy with the dunya and they make you money. They don't care more about the Quran. So they lose it. A lot of people like that. And I have a lot of friends who we went to the Quran school together, we finished together, now they don't have it anymore. When you read, they know what surah it is, but they cannot continue because they got busy with the dunya. So you have to keep reading the Quran. You have to keep making the muraja'a, and the most important thing is the solid hifz, not the number of surah and ajza that you know. Some people, hey, mashallah, my son, he has 20 ajza, he has all of the Quran. But when you make him sit down and ask him, he doesn't know anything. So that's not something that you should be telling people about, or thinking that your son is a hero. Your son has to sit down, inshallah, and memorize it. Solid hifz. It's not something difficult to do. A lot of kids at the age of 10, 11, 14, they're done with it. And they know it from the ghilaf to the ghilaf, from the beginning to the end. So inshallah, I believe this is enough for tonight. And then we're going to change, inshallah, the schedule for the tafsir and the tajweed. What we're going to be doing, inshallah, the tafsir is on Sunday. Okay? So the tafsir will be on Sunday, same time after Salat al-Maghrib. And the tajweed will switch to Wednesday. Okay? So tajweed on Wednesday and the tafsir on Sunday. So our next class is on Sunday. What is it about? Tafsir. And then the class after is on Wednesday. What is it going to be about? Tajweed, inshallah. So that's the new schedule. So on Monday we have class for the tilawah. We're going to reserve the time because sometimes I talk too much and we don't have time for the tilawah. So we're going to have maybe 20 minutes on Sunday for the tilawah, and then another 20 minutes on Wednesday for the tilawah, and then on Monday, So I'm sorry. So like 20 minutes on Sunday, and then another 20 minutes on Wednesday. In total, we have 40 minutes for the tilawah, and then we have an hour of tilawah on Monday from Maghrib until Isha. So this way, inshallah, is fair. So we're giving everything its rights, because we were doing the tilawah before, and now we're not doing it as we were doing it. So we want to give time for the tilawah. So inshallah, on Sunday, we're going to have the tafsir. And then inshallah, whenever we have time left, we're going to do the tilawah after the tafsir. And then on Monday, the whole time is reserved for the tilawah. No lecture, just tilawah. Okay? And then on Wednesday, we're going to have tafsir. And when we finish, we're going to have tajweed, I'm sorry. When we finish the tajweed, we're going to have tilawah after the lecture, inshallah. Yes? Yeah.
No class Wednesday?
No class this coming Wednesday. Okay, so our next class is Sunday, tafsir. Okay, because on Sunday we're gonna have more people coming, and a lot of people don't work on Sunday, so it's more convenient, inshallah, to give the opportunity to people to attend, inshallah, on Sunday. So Sunday after Maghrib is the time for the tafsir. Tilawah, the recitation, Quran class. You don't know what tilawah is? Mohamed. The tilawah is a recitation. We said, inshallah, you read, making mistakes, I'm correcting your mistakes. So we will be doing the practical tajweed, inshallah, on Monday. Halas? Yes, Yusuf.
The second, after this Sunday, the following class is on Wednesday, correct?
So make it easy. Next class is Sunday. Okay? And then after that, Wednesday. And it's going to continue like this. Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. This coming Wednesday, no class. Okay? So this coming Wednesday, no class. Our next class on Sunday. Sunday and Wednesday. And then Monday is for the tilawah, inshallah. Okay, and everybody's invited to come for the tilawah. You don't have to know all of the Quran or to know a lot of surahs. Even if you're a beginner, you don't know anything, you can attend the tilawah, inshallah. Okay? So the tilawah is for everybody. There's a lot of questions. Let me see if I can answer some of them. Okay, they were just answering the questions. I'm in trouble with my pronunciation. How can I start correcting them? You have to attend the classes of the tajweed. Simple. You have to come here. That's it. Or you have to go to a masjid nearby and sit with the sheikh and learn. That's how you fix it. Or you find an online program. There's a lot of, mashallah, tabarakallah, online teachers from Egypt, from Pakistan, from even Saudi Arabia. My brother is one of the teachers in Maqra'atul Haramain, inside Masjidul Haram. They have maqra that you call, it's online, and they teach you. And they have that service 24/7. This is one of the things that you can do. Inshallah, you can contact me. I can send you the link. I'm not sure. I will talk to my brother to send me the link, and inshallah, we'll share it. It's whenever you have time. It's free. And all of the teachers from Mecca, right inside Al-Masjid al-Haram, they teach you from inside Masjid al-Haram for free. So that's what you have to do. Simple. Brother, say Saifullah, I think. So you just have to come to the masjid. You can come here. You can go to any masjid. You can follow any online program and keep learning. This way, inshallah, your recitation will change. It takes time, ikhwani. It doesn't change overnight. Anything you want to do in life, it takes time. You're overweight, you want to lose weight, it takes time because it took you a long time to put on the weight. You're not going to lose it in just 2 weeks. It's going to take time. You've been lazy all of your life. You don't learn ilm tajweed, so you're not going to learn it in just 2 weeks. It's going to take some time. It's going to take time. But you have to keep to be serious. Keep coming to the classes, being serious. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا, those who strive hard in us. لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا, we will guide them our ways, meaning that to be patient, to grant them the proper patience and the proper strength to work correctly and to achieve their goals. Because for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's what it takes. You know, anyone who memorizes the Quran, don't think it's easy. I memorized the Quran, but how I was doing it every single day from Asr till Isha. Every single day, 5 days a week. From Salatul Asr until Salatul Isha. 4 hours. It's not easy, it takes time. And then after that, also you have to go to the Ma'had and spend another 2 years going from Al-Asr until Isha, learning the Tajweed and the Tafsir. It takes time. So when you see someone who's Shaykh al-Sudais, he didn't learn it overnight. It took him a long time. Shaykh al-Shuraim, Shaykh Abdul Basit, Abdul Samad, they did not learn overnight. It took them some time. So you have to be serious and continue and strive hard for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believe you're going to make it. Do not belittle yourself. You don't have to speak Arabic. You don't have to be good in the Tajweed. You can start from wherever you stand. My class is open for everybody. I'm not saying that class is only for professionals. Those who are good, mashallah, they have beautiful sound and voice. No, it's for everybody. Anyone can join. You want to do Al-Fatiha, you want us to do the Basmala and the Isti'adah, we can do that, not a problem. We can teach anyone. Okay? And it's free of charge. We didn't charge anything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just be serious, join any class. If you're not close to this masjid, any class in your area, you can also follow any online Quran teaching, inshallah. You achieve your goal. A lot of people, as I said, my brother had a lot of students over the phone and they almost finishing the Quran. They, mashallah, every single day they log in and they learn, and it's free. So inshallah, we try to share that on the Facebook page, and also you can contact me, send me a message or text me or whatever, and I can send you the link for the maqra'a. Maqra'atul haramain. Al-haramain, haram al-Makki, haram al-Madani. Free of charge, ya ikhwan. Subhanallah, the good things are free, and the bad thing you have to pay money for them. But we go for the bad. Subhanallah. So inshallah, that's the end of our lecture. Our next lecture, inshallah, will be on Sunday about Tafsir al-Quran. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barak.
You give on Facebook, it doesn't work.
What link you talking about?
See, like live, we can see.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it will just take you to the page?
It taking me, but it say cannot.
Because you don't have a Facebook, I think.
I have.
Okay, I will show you after we finish the lecture. But anyway, I do upload the lecture on YouTube. So inshallah, maybe tomorrow morning I will upload it on YouTube and send the link out, and you can watch it and send it also and share it with others. Inshallah, jazakum. Because not everybody has a Facebook. But the YouTube live is not something that I know how to do. It's kind of complicated. So because of that, I do it on Facebook and then upload it to YouTube.
Give me this one after I
Okay.
play.
Give me a minute. I will show you inshallah. So inshallah, this is the end of our lecture. Jazakumullahu khairan wa baraka fikum wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.